All right, welcome back, guys, to Novel Nonsense. I'm Tiffany, and we've got another author interview with the lovely John Newton. So, first, before we jump into the books and the world and all of that fantastic stuff, why don't you just kind of fill us in on just kind of who you are outside of being an author?
Um, I'm an electrical engineer. I do a lot of programming and system development. And so some of that actual science stuff gets bled into the world building and the science fiction part. Then I'm also a father, and I'm not really a part-time farmer. That's more my wife that does that. So we've got we got sheep, goats, chickens, and two cows.
Oh, I love it. I grew up on a farm, so I moving up to living outside the city, I miss it.
Oh, do you? What kind of farm were you on?
So we started with my grandparents, it was dairy cattle, and then we moved to pigs and mainly beef cattle. I dabbled in goats a little bit. We had some chickens at one point, just a little bit of everything, but
Okay.
cattle very much hold a space in my heart.
Okay. Well, that sounds really familiar to the way that my wife grew up. So,
Oh, nice.
yep.
Very nice. I love it. So let's hop into, I have them right here. Let's hop into the
Okay.
books. My goal was to at least have this one finished by the time we talked. I'm a little over halfway. So I at least have some of it, but I am obsessed. I think when I read the prequel, I was immediately like, okay, I need to read this first one. It's fantastic. So why don't you just kind of talk to us about the books and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. All right. So if these are the first two in a series, it's almost like a duology or duopoly. Because the first two are about the one of six, Francisco, and he is one who is supposed to end a time war that's been going on for centuries, millennia, since before 3500 BC. And Earth is not the first timeline. There are others that preceded it. And so this all gets wrapped up into this. And Francisco is the one that is supposed to, one of six is supposed to end this war. And then there's a two of six, three of six, four of six, and so forth. And so the recruiters are sort of like, if you're familiar with Doctor Who, you can almost think of that where you have the Doctor and his companion are going through and they're trying to find these people to recruit to be on their side. Well, there's also another group that doesn't want them on their side. And so they're active in trying to do it. They basically have two different philosophies of handling time travel. They've been stuck in the past. They can't go back any further in the past, but they can only go forward. And one group said they were stuck back in the dark in the Stone Ages. And that one group said, listen, we're basically gods here. We can do whatever we want. And we might as well try to make the best society that we can. But they argued about what that would be. The other group said, we made a mess of things. We need to stay out of it and stay in the shadows. So those are the two different groups, and they've been fighting ever since. So that gives you a basic idea. You don't see that at the beginning of this book. Did you see that happening at all? That's all
No,
backstory.
no.
So what did you see when you first started reading it? What did you hit on?
I mean, I really enjoy how the story is being told. Like, I want to know who this man is in the nursing home. I was talking to, I think it was my husband, and I was like, I wonder, and I could be way off base, and that's totally fine, but just let me pretend that I know what's going to happen. But I
Okay.
was like, I wonder, is it Francisco who's hop forward in the future, or maybe he's kept himself alive with the healing stone. I'm like, what if it's him? And I have all these thoughts. It's fantastic, but I love how the story is being told that way,
Mhm.
and because there's so much mystery as to, well, who are you? And I think with the prequel, I just really like the aspect of, you have this stone that can heal all sorts of things. And I find it very interesting. I think there's, especially with that struggle that I think Francisco has of when to heal, when not to heal, and how to heal, and not harming because then he may not be able to heal and he's running from his uncle. Like there's just so much tied into it that it's so fascinating. I love it.
Cool. Cool. It's always interesting to hear from a reader's point of view because I have these things mapped in my mind how things are going to go.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes when you write, you start going down a path and that's not going to work. And then you try something else. But in your back of your mind, you're still thinking that path is there. And then
Mm-hmm.
the readers go over it and you say, "Oh, so you're seeing it from this perspective." So
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. And you read the prequel, which was a short story, Child of the Stone, which
Mm-hmm.
had to do with his great 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 grandfather Juan discovering the stone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, you don't need to have that, but it is an interesting perspective coming in to say it's been in the family for this long.
Yes. And I think it's a nice way to go, if you're not sure will I like this series? I think for me that was very much, I mean, I knew I was going to love it, but reading the prequel I was like, okay, yes, I'm in. I want to know more. So I think that was really nice to have that as a prequel so people can be like, do I want to dabble into this world? And the part that I'm at, we're getting more of, gosh, I'm horrible with remembering people and character names. Um, it, it's not
Angelo?
who.
Angelo?
Yes, I always
Okay.
want to say Anthony, and I'm like, that's not right.
Mhm.
So him and Miyuki, is that how
Good.
you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm getting to know them a bit more. I'm trying to figure out, like, I understand they're on the one side of things wanting to recruit Francisco. So I'm just waiting to see how that plays out a bit
Okay.
more. But
That's cool. So with I'm curious with the Child of the Stone, the prequel, the short story.
uh-huh.
What is it that caught your attention with that?
mm, I think for me, also, I feel like you're interviewing me instead of the other way
I
around.
don't get to talk to. Well, I do. Whenever I get to talk to a reader, it's like, oh my gosh, what's your insight? What did you
Right,
see?
right.
What did you
You're like,
like? What
tell me,
didn't you
tell
like?
me. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now, I think for me, what really grabbed me is, and this may be weird, but with the couple having fertility issues, like that's something that I also have experience with. And so I think just the idea of having a way to fix that, and now we get to have this whole huge family, like I think that was the piece that really got me. Um, but I also thought it was interesting at the end when you found out that Juan kept the stone and he didn't, like, he just gave them a fake. And I was like, oh, well, that was daring, Juan. What are we going to do with this?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that very much made me want to read more and go like, okay, well, if we're keeping this stone, what are we going to do? Are we going to do good things or bad things?
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that ended up being his family, and both happened. Both good things and bad things happened. And you
Mm-hmm.
don't really see that too much in the story, other than Francisco and his uncle. His uncle said, "I've got this thing, and I'm going to make money with it."
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I ask people when I go to book fairs and stuff like that. The leading question is, "What would you do with a stone that could heal anything?" I'll
Mm-hmm.
get all sorts of answers. And I got an interesting one this last weekend. A guy said, "You know what? I I'd find a high bidder for it to do a job to heal." And I thought, okay, he's taking the money side, but then he would use that to fund healing a lot of people that couldn't afford it. And
Oh.
I thought that is a pretty cool way to do it. I'd never heard of it that way before.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. So what would you do if you had a healing stone?
oh my gosh, no one's ever thrown it back at me. Well, the first thing I'll tell you what's really hard is if I ask that question to someone who comes up and they're in a wheelchair, obviously something's going on. It's like, man, don't even ask this question.
Right, right.
So that is a rough one. I think I like that guy's answer, but the big question is, it's a matter of control. Would I want to be the one to choose who is going to be healed, or
Mhm.
do I offer it up to somebody else who I have trust in, who has a larger reach that can get more people or heal more people, stuff like that. So
Mhm.
that's probably the first thing I do is I find out someone who has larger reach.
I think that's fair. I can't even imagine the pressure that you would feel knowing that you have a way to heal anybody, and it is truly up to you on whether you do it or you don't do it. It's just I don't think I would handle it very well.
Well, those deeper questions are the ones I like to tackle, not to be real heavy or anything, but
Mhm.
still like to be able to tackle in the story. Because what happens when, like Francisco, it's a big kid, gets beat up on the streets as an orphan, doesn't fight back because his father's told him, "Do no harm unless you break the charm." So he thinks he can't hurt anybody.
Mhm.
So how is he going to handle that? And
Mhm.
then those are the same questions that you'd ask other people. Really, in the second book, not too much of a spoiler, but he really comes hard against that question of
Mhm.
who to heal. He still does have the stone. What is he going to do with them? So,
Mhm.
not to say he survives the first book. You may not. He may
Oh.
not. I'm just letting you know. No spoilers here. He may be dead. You know.
Okay, okay. I will be prepared for anything at this point. So one of the questions that I always like to ask is, what draws you to science fiction over fantasy or mystery or thrillers or anything like that?
It's a type of story that I usually like. I've been drawn to that story itself, that genre as a reader,
Mm-hmm.
and it also has another advantage of, and in fantasies like this too, is this the speculation. What if?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you take that what if question and you run with it. You
Mm-hmm.
put a character in that position, like I can heal anybody. How would that person be restricted by it? How would they respond in tough situations? Um, and what challenges would threaten not just the use of that, but threaten them personally with that? And you're going to find that out when you get further in the book.
Okay. I feel like I have so much to look forward to, and I can't wait. I'm taking a little vacation next week, so both of these are coming with me, and
Great.
I will probably finish both because when I have time away where I don't have my list of things to do, it's lovely, and I get through a lot. So what was kind of your inspiration or just kind of thinking about building this world? Where did some of those ideas come from?
I kind of mentioned something earlier. There's a long running TV show called Doctor Who. It started back in 1963. I think it might be the longest running TV series ever. They took some breaks along the way and stuff like that. And I watched a bit of it when I was a kid. It was really campy. The special effects were awful, but it had some interesting storylines with it, and the concept of time travel was there too. So that kind of got me hooked in thinking, how would I do that? And I was looking for a story with that kind of bent, and I couldn't find anything. So I started writing myself. I thought, well, with that, let's just do this.
Mm-hmm. No, that's very cool. And I think it's definitely interesting with the time travel part where they can only go back so far. And so is it like if they decide to go back in time, do they, and this might be later on in the book and you can tell me, just read on and you'll find it later, but are they able to pick a certain point, or is there like a set point in time that nobody can go past?
Well, what actually they can't go back at all anymore. There
Oh.
was there was a larger vehicle called the Tamarin, which allowed them all to go back in time. And the pods were just individual, they were observation units first. This was used as a research. It was the Tamarin was a observational platform. And their concept was we can't alter history, going, but we shouldn't. We can, but we should not alter history. And so there was just observation because so they had the recorders. They looked like little bugs.
Mhm.
They can record things like little drones that go around. And if someone kills a bug, it's like no big deal because bugs are everywhere.
Mhm.
And so they would use that. They have stealth. They'd be able to just stay out and watch history. So there were historians that went back to look at history. And then there was a temporal war, a time war that had happened, which I won't get into too deep because there's a lot of history behind that. But since the Tamarin is gone, they can't go back in time anymore. The
Oh,
pods only allow them to go forward and they can
mhm.
go to different locations.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. No, I like that. Um, and I think one other thing when I first met Miyuki and they were talking about like the implants and everything, I sat there for a second. I was like, wait a minute. This is like not, we're not even in the year 1200. What do you mean you have these implants? And then I remembered the time travel and I was like,
Yeah,
okay, that makes more sense. I was like, where
right.
are these coming from? So, um, now looking at all of your characters, do you have a favorite character, favorite group of characters as you were writing and putting things together?
That's a hard one. It's almost like, do you have a favorite child?
Right.
You know, because they're all different in their own ways.
Mhm.
Um, I like the discovery that Francisco has and the challenges that he has. Mayuki is more quiet, reserved, but she's very sharp
Mhm.
and insightful. Angelo, I really like Angelo.
Mhm.
He's I don't know if you know much about the history for him. He was the first person recruited in the Earth timelines. There was the Epi time or the Earth, sorry, the Avar timeline was the original, then there was Epi, and then there was Earth, and he was the first one that was recruited, and that was at 3500 BC.
Okay.
So basically, from the Stone Ages, and
Mhm.
he has seen history
Mm.
all throughout by jumping forward in time. So there is that kind of view of history. Plus, he has his implant is he has a dual master level implant. One is more brain capacity, so he thinks like Data from Star Trek, and he's has control over gravity. So those two things together make him super powerful. So, and the bad guys too. I like the bad guys because they challenge the good guys.
Yes, yes, that's fair. I am really enjoying again, I'm this is so bad remembering names. Francisco's friend, San,
Sancho?
yes, yes. I I don't know what it is about him. I think he gives a little bit of comedic relief. Like he's just kind of tagging along, but he also, I think, has a little bit of trying to keep Francisco on the straight and narrow sometimes.
Yep.
And almost like Francisco self-conscious of being like, should we do that? I don't think we should. So I'm very much enjoying watching their friendship kind of grow because I think it felt like it just came out of nowhere and he was like, hey, I'm coming along with you now. And he's so stinking cute. I love it.
Yeah, there's some interesting things that are going to happen with Sancho. Keep your eye on him.
Okay, good things or bad things?
I can't say.
Am I not gonna say he's cute? I'm gonna send you an email and be like, why did this happen?
Yes, hate mail is welcome.
I love it. So are there any certain scenes or parts of the book that you really enjoyed writing over others?
I'll tell you one that was hard,
Mm-hmm.
and that was towards the beginning when Francisco loses his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was a hard scene to write.
Mm-hmm.
And another scene that's difficult are battle scenes because the events that happen in this story, the battles and so forth, were historical battles. The people that were involved in them were all the things that happened were with that, and then trying to get to be historically accurate with the weapons and the strategy and everything like that. That's difficult, but it also adds flavor, I think, to
Mm-hmm.
the story. I don't hopefully, and let me put this as a question to you, Do you think I spent too much time on the battles, or was that more or less balanced?
I am trying to think if I've gotten to like a big battle because I've gotten to the siege. Um, was there a battle before that? I know there were like different street fights and stuff, but I think I'm pretty early on in him
Okay.
joining the militia. So I don't know if I've hit.
Okay. Okay. No, you
I
haven't. So there's some stuff that's coming, but there's not a whole lot on the battles. You're probably at Malagon, and this was during the Reconquista, during this one part, they did hit these cities going through, and these are events that had happened. And there's something that's going to happen in Malagon with the French knights.
mm,
That was true.
okay.
And but Francisco's reaction to it, I think you might like how that happens.
Okay. I'm excited. And I was wondering too, as I was kind of going through stuff, how much you pulled from actual historical events and stuck in there. Did you, I guess, how much time did that take of, like you said, referencing, do I have historical weapons and do I hit all of these things appropriately? How much time did that take to kind of check all those boxes?
I would be too embarrassed to answer that question.
Okay, fair.
But I will say that one of the big things there's all sorts of different elements that go into each genre of fiction. In fantasy and science fiction, a little bit of horror, world building is big. It's like a cornerstone of it.
Mhm.
And add to that then the historical side. So there's research on world building and historical. But the biggest challenge is to be able to reach the reader without boring him or her with the info dumps
Yes.
on either how the tech works or what happens historically. You
Mhm.
focus on the character because the character is put into those events and pulling through. And hopefully I've been successful in doing that.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, there's definitely some books that I've read in the past where it can feel like it just kind of gets bogged down sometimes with all of the details. And sometimes I get torn because, yes, I want to know the details, but can I know them in a different way? And
Right.
so I think, I mean, so far, I think you've done a really good job of getting those details there, but including the characters in a way that keeps the reader engaged and wanting to read more. Um,
Good.
because that's something like I don't get me wrong, I love Lord of the Rings, but if I have to spend 10 pages traveling, I'm struggling.
I think I did a good job with the ad. That was another one that was an inspiration for me. Yeah, if you read the books, you got to struggle. I had to do that in audiobook. It was rough, but I really enjoyed the movies because that they did a really good adaptation for it. Not
Mm-hmm.
so much The Hobbit, but for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I think they did. Would you agree with that? That they did a good adaptation?
Yes, yes, I would agree. It's one of the few like book to movie that I'm going, okay, I'm pleased.
Yes. Yeah, I'd agree.
No, but I think so far you do a great job with getting the information but not making me go, okay, I'm falling asleep as I'm
Right. You know, it's interesting that you didn't know, and this is fine, that you didn't know that they couldn't go back in time because that's something that's really you don't see that really strongly until book two. You don't introduce concepts that aren't needed at the moment necessarily, right? So you don't have to explain. I guess maybe Lord of the Rings did this. Is like all this genealogy that's here. It's like, okay, get to the point here. What's going on? So
yes.
none of that.
No, I think it's fantastic. Um, is there, whether it's with the main character or any of the other characters, are there any traits or things that you really relate to with them?
With the characters
Mm-hmm.
on a personal level, you mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
oh wow. Um, I think there's a little bit in each character. There's a little bit of relation with each character. If I were to relate most strongly with any of them, it'd probably be Angelo.
Okay.
Um, but uh, even the bad guys, it's like there's a little bit of you in them. So
Right. Which I mean makes sense. You've created all of these characters. So I think it makes sense to have a little bit in each one. And I mean, we all have good tendencies, not good tendencies. And so I think that's fair. Absolutely. Um Now you had mentioned Francisco's one of six. So there's like a two of six, three of six. So does that mean you're writing more? Like, what does that, and you can also tell me, no, I'm not answering that, and that's fine. But what does that whole world look like?
so there is, I think I could say, I have to be careful with there's staggered reveals that I'm doing as before the book launches.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, the two of six, her name is Ramada. She is a princess of the Empire of Mali, which is in Africa.
Okay.
The year is 1354, and she is accused of stealing the cloak of many faces from her father's treasury.
Okay.
And so then what is she going to do with this? So just like Francisco had lost Arvartech with the stone that could heal anything, she has lost Arvartech and this cloak of many faces. And then how is she going to be recruited? Then you have the three of six, which is, I'm not going to say exactly where, but it has to do Central America.
Okay.
150 years after that, it just keeps going forward in time as we go.
Oh, and do we see some characters move through, or is it a brand new set of characters each round?
Most of them are the same,
Okay. Okay.
unless they die. Well, Francisco could die. Just letting you know.
Listen, I get attached to characters, so, but
I think you should be fine. You should be fine.
okay,
There are
okay,
some sad points, but you should be fine.
okay. I mean, I do tell authors I very much love emotional damage when I'm reading. Like, please make me cry. And I will say that when you were talking about the hard part of when Francisco's mom passed, like that, I did tear up a little bit because it just broke my heart that he was so young and he knew that there was a way to heal her and it wasn't there. Like, I think that part just, broke my heart. And I think also it was my birth mom passed away when I was younger. And so I was like, oh, that's a little heavy. But, I think, everything turned out fine. But I was like, oh, sweet boy.
So
So,
you asked earlier what was I don't know if he's asked if it was a hard one to write, but I did say that scene was hard. I also lost my mom when I was young, 16, cancer.
oh,
She passed away. But so there is some of that maybe as an author you can draw on to
mm-hmm,
say, I'm putting this into the scene.
mm-hmm. Do you feel like when you do scenes like that and you're pulling from personal trauma and things, is that in a way a little bit healing for you?
Uh, yes. Now this I can't say specifically for this instance, but I would say in the most part, yes. For me, she passed away in 1983, so it's been a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think you're right. I think working that out, you got to be careful though what you share because it gets a little that personal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just better off for a journal than it is for a book. But I think this was appropriate for this one.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it was good, and I think it also kind of goes into Francisco's character development of, I have this trauma, he has all that stuff with his uncle, and his uncle just, I don't like him.
Neither do I.
But I've been enjoying watching him kind of living on the streets and trying to just figure things out, and because is he still like late teenage years
Yes.
by the time he
Yep.
joins the militia? Yeah, so he's still very young, still growing, and he's already experienced a lot of trauma. And so I've been enjoying watching him just try to figure life out while he also has this stone that has all these healing powers. I can't imagine. It's gonna be insane. So thinking about your books in general, is there a certain um, message or theme that you are hoping readers will take away after they read them?
There are deeper meanings underneath the surface. It hopefully at the very least it is an entertaining and engaging story
Mm-hmm.
with characters that, like you say, grip your heart and make you think. Um, so hopefully from that there's a bit of escapism, but underneath it all there is something deeper, but I'm not going to say. It's for the person to discover him, the reader to discover for him or herself.
No, that's fair because I think everybody has different ways that they interpret what they're reading. And
Mhm.
I also think this is something that Leah and I talk about sometimes is depending on what season of life you're in, one book may really speak to you over another. And so I think that's fair to just go like, okay, what do you take from it? And then thinking about people who are wanting to start writing their own book, whether it's science fiction or other genres, do you have any tips, words of advice on kind of getting that started?
Writing is mostly a solitary activity. However, I think it's important to be a part of a writing group because they will challenge you, and they will. If you are a part of a writing group where everybody critiques each other's work
Mm-hmm.
on a good level that is honest and not, you're looking to build each other up, but be honest at the same time. I think if you can find a group like that, that is worth its weight in gold. In fact, I believe you've interviewed another person
Yes.
who we have been in the same writing group, and that is Cindy Breck.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they're also she and her family and our family are good friends. Both families are. So yeah, and that's how we met, was through that writing group. Now, what will happen at first with that group, possibly, and it has with ours, is that they'll help you develop the skill. But then once you have something written, the next question is, okay, now what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are a lot of cases. That's where we're helping each other out with that right now. Is the marketing, the book covers, things like that going.
Mm-hmm. No,
I got a
that's
bit of trivia. Want to hear some trivia?
yes, yes,
Okay. So the cover art on this, you've got, I don't know, can you see this? I think you can, right?
yes.
Okay.
And I have
So
my own one that I'm looking at too.
yes, the hand that's here. Now, we did a photo shoot with a guy dressed up as Francisco and another guy dressed up as Sancho, right? They had their gear on and everything like that. And this is the only thing that survived, was just the hand. After going through everything, the cover artist just used this, and that was it.
Uh-huh.
And I've said this before, so I have her permission. This is Cindy's son's hand.
That's
Okay.
fantastic.
So this is her son has gotten on this book. Now, this one, the second one, is not her son.
Okay.
This is a kid who read the book, really liked it, and I said, "You want to be on the cover?"
That's
This
so
is my son, one of my
oh
sons. I have five sons. So
okay.
this is the youngest son. He dressed up in what I'm wearing right now. And we took a photo shoot of him and do it. So both of these, they're not both San Francisco, but they're supposed to be.
Oh my
So
gosh,
that
that's
was fun.
so cool. Yeah, I was gonna ask, because I always love to hear about like how did you have somebody kind of design the covers and things? Because I do enjoy just like all the little extra things that are in the background here. And I was talking to Elle Wood, she does something similar with her covers where she has little pieces of the book is kind of in the cover too. And I think those are so cool because it's just like little Easter eggs hidden in there.
Did you notice something on the stone in the first book? Look close, see if you can see it.
Are those the hunger marks on there?
Yes.
Fantastic. I do. Like I just love all these little things. And so on the second one, this is Francisco as well.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And I'm assuming is he holding the stone?
Well, the what does the title say? What is the title?
The stone inside, so it's something different. Is there something in this stone? I know you're not going to tell me. You're going to tell me to
No,
read.
no. But once you read the book, you'll find out something inside. So
Okay.
that's a bit of the mystery.
Okay. Well, I'll get to it next week while I'm on vacation.
Cool.
I love it. No, and I think that's so important to have that support group like you were mentioning. And I know Cindy talked about it in her interview too, that she's really enjoyed just having that community. And I think that's one thing that I've really noticed the more that I've talked to indie authors and been to events and stuff, that they a lot of them do really like to build each other up and stick together and support each other. And I think that's so nice. I love that. So we talked about future books. Do you have a date on when the next one's coming out or not yet?
Yes, May next year. The three of or the and I don't think I've revealed the name of it yet, but you might be on my newsletter and you'll get there's reveals that'll come out
Okay.
when I go. So
Okay.
cover arts, title, a little more details and stuff like that until the story comes out.
Perfect. And is it just one book that's coming out?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I wish there was more, but it's fine.
Yes. I wish I could, but with so I'm running an engineering business, have 7 children. We have rental units, we got the farm. So no,
You're not
as
busy
much as I wish, yeah, give it all up. Just right.
right? I know that's something that I had mentioned before of it's nice talking to authors because it gives us readers perspective on it's not a super simple process of oh wrote a book here you go wrote a book here you go like it you guys put a lot of time and effort and money and everything into these so we just have to be patient.
Sorry, I really do wish I could be faster.
No, no.
But I will say that for this next book, I did have a rough draft done and I wasn't satisfied with what it was. So I need to go back and make changes to it. So it's right there on the edge. Not so much with number 4, number 5 has been started, things like that. So these are all in process.
Okay. How many books are going to be in this whole series?
So each character, and the 1 of 6, 2 of 6, and so forth, has 2 books. So this is a duology on Francisco.
Okay.
Ramada will have 2. And I can't say, well, maybe he's in the second book or not, but I can't say maybe Mayuki, and Angelo are in the third book and continuing through like that as they get more characters. Sort of think of it almost like the Avengers, where you have the different movies like Iron Man and Thor and stuff like that, the different character focusing on each one. That's kind of what's going on here.
Okay. I love it. And I mean, some people get, I think, a little intimidated if there's a series with a lot of books. I love it because I get a series hangover. When I finish a series, there's a part of me that's like, oh, but it's all done.
Yep. Yep.
So if it
Well,
just continues, I don't feel that way.
with the nice thing about this too is if it's like you said, the short story, that's when we get started. And then you can think of this as just 2 books by themselves because they wrap it up for San Francisco and then you got others. So that's true too.
That is true. Well, I'm going to read all of them. So
Cool. Cool.
And then upcoming events. Do you have things coming up that you're attending? I briefly saw your newsletter and I don't remember anything that was on it. I apologize. So,
Yes, and I made a huge mistake in that newsletter too. Don't read the red text in there. That was from I sent that out and said, no, I can't unsend. Uh, so I have this next Saturday. So there was one this last Friday. This next Saturday, Mid Ohio Indie Book Expo, and that is in Grove City, Ohio.
okay.
And then next month is going to be really big, and this is Pages in Time, the Keister Watermill in Shreve, Ohio. Yes, I'm on the planning committee with it, with Cindy on it. So we're
Okay.
going to be there, and that's going to be really cool. I don't know if you've seen this. Her husband has just finished the water wheel on that, and it should be, as far as I know, maybe operational at the time they're doing tours and everything like that with it too. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, yeah. I talked to Cindy about it during her interview, and I think at that time he was still working on fixing it up. But both my husband and I are from near the Shreve area, so
Okay.
yeah, we'll be there. That sounds so cool.
I will look forward to seeing you guys again. And
Yeah.
meet, if your husband's going to be there, it'd be great to meet him too.
Mhm. Yeah, he was with me at the Big Ohio Book Con, but I think he got distracted talking to he's not a he doesn't read, but he loves socializing. So when he came with me, like he's chatting up all these people. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go buy some books. You let me know when you're done. But he did tell me it was funny. I think when you had first walked in, he goes, "Who's that guy dressed up as?" I was like, I don't know. And so when I was telling him about this interview, I was like, "Yeah, it was the guy that was dressed up." And he goes, "Oh, he looks so cool." So he thinks you're fantastic.
That's cool. Yeah, so that one is coming up, and we're looking forward to that and other events from that. But those are the two big next ones that are coming up.
Perfect. I love it. So anything else that you want to chat about with your books or advice for up and coming authors and things like that?
Uh, the if you're going to write with others, and let your imagination go wild. Just have fun doing it. It's fun to explore different worlds, different characters, and things like that. So it's I think it's like being a reader, except you're in charge, but you're not really in charge because your characters start taking off with their own lives, and you try to catch them, and it gets to be it's sort of a wrestling match. So that's fun.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fair. How do you keep all of your stuff organized as you're writing? Or do you just let it do what it does and then you try to organize it?
I am a well, there's two different types of writers in regards to this. There's plotters and pantsers. I'm a plotter that it becomes a pantser and tries to get it back into plot again because it keeps on going wild on its own. There is, because of the world building with science fiction, I do have to keep things organized, and so there's sort of a world Bible type of deal where everything's recorded. The reader sees only 10% of that iceberg. Most of it is underneath, not known.
Okay. I feel like I love science fiction and fantasy, but when I think about world building and making all these characters and it feels very overwhelming to even think about how do you create that, let alone how do you keep it organized, because I'm such a planner and I like to keep things organized. I'm like, I think I would get overwhelmed and just go, you know what, we're not doing this.
That can happen.
um so are you on any social media or places where people can follow you and kind of stay up to date with things that are happening?
Yes. In terms of that, probably the best thing is I am on Facebook and also Instagram, although those aren't. I mean, the number of followers that's kind of small, but they do say what events are coming up. So those
Okay.
two are there. If you look for John Newton sci-fi, that's one word, SCIFI, you'll find that. Also on YouTube. I was doing YouTube for a while
Okay.
and had quite a few. I have some followers or some subscribers there,
Mm-hmm.
but and I was doing once a week. It just got to be too much, so I pulled back. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't doing the writing, so I had to do the writing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's fair. That's one of the things that Leah and I have talked about with our channel is our goal was to post stuff once a week. And we both work full time. We both do all these other things. And it started to become more stressful than fun. We were like, you know
Yes,
what? It's our channel. We can choose how often we post things so that we're still having a good time.
yes. What one way that I handled that is I was doing live streams, so there was no editing afterwards. It made
Okay.
that part either. But there was a lot of prep work that I'd done because we were doing reviews on movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And there's a lot of work that had to be done ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And that's where I think with, because we review a lot of books, and then when life things happen, okay, we're not reading as much, so then we're not posting as much. And we were finally like, we just need to chill. It's okay. It's not the end of
Yes.
the world.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down, chatting with me. I'm super excited to finish these two books and anxiously waiting for more because I think they will be fantastic. And then I will definitely tag you on YouTube and then the other socials as well, so that way people can find you. But I really appreciate you hanging out with us.
Thank you. It's been great. And I'll look forward to seeing you again. And if you haven't finished at that time, I really want to hear what your thoughts are.
Yes, I mean, if I yes, I'm just gonna say they will be finished by then because that's end of September, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I knock on wood, it'll be finished by then.
And if you don't, that's fine too.
At least book one will be finished. I can say that for certainty because I am a little over halfway done. All right, guys. Well, stay tuned for, we'll do a full book review once these are done. We've got some more author interviews coming up as well in the next few months, and we will chat with you later. Bye.